Ladies and gentlemen, there are moments in life when time stands still, in the quiet hours of the night, when the world has hushed and all that remains is the beating of your heart. Have you ever been visited by someone who is no longer here? Have you ever woken up with tears in your eyes and their voice echoing in your soul? You see, when you dream of someone who passed away, it is not just a flicker of memory. It is not merely the mind playing tricks in the night. It means that person is near. It means that love never dies. It means eternity whispers through the veil of heaven. Middle voice lifting with conviction, I've spoken to people who said, I dreamed of my mother, my father, my child. I saw their smile again. I heard their laugh. I felt their embrace. It felt so real. And I tell them that's because it was real. You see, we are not just flesh and bone. We are soul and spirit, created in the image of a loving, eternal God. And when someone we love leaves this earth, they do not vanish. No, they live on. Their absence may echo like thunder in our hearts, but in God's great mystery, sometimes, just sometimes, He pulls back the curtain of eternity and allows their presence to comfort us. Love never dies. Love is not a fleeting feeling, not a momentary spark that fades with time or circumstance. It is the very essence of our being, stitched into the fabric of our souls, rooted in something eternal. When we love someone deeply, when our hearts are intertwined with theirs in this life, that love does not come to an end just because the physical presence is no longer there. The body may be buried, the voice may go silent, but love, true love, does not perish. It remains, it echoes. It continues to speak in the silence, to live in the spaces between dreams and memories, to breathe in the stillness of an empty room. You may walk into a room and suddenly feel a presence. You may hear a song and be swept into a flood of memories. You may smell a familiar scent, see an old photograph, or find yourself instinctively reaching out to call someone you've lost, only to remember, with a painful twist of your heart, that they are no longer here. Yet even in that moment, love is speaking. It's reminding you that your connection wasn't built on time alone or shared spaces. It was built on something far deeper, something that death cannot erase. That love still wraps itself around you, unseen but powerful. It lives inside of you. When someone we love passes away, we often feel an emptiness that words can't describe. A hole is torn open in the soul, and we wonder if it will ever close. But with time and grace, we begin to realize something profound. That hole isn't just absence. It's a sacred space, a chamber where love still lives. It's a place where their memory breathes, where their spirit whispers, where our hearts continue to speak their name. Because love isn't about holding someone's hand, it's about carrying them in your heart, every day, with every step. There are times we'll be caught off guard by grief, as if love is bursting through the cracks in our heart. A song, a season, a certain kind of light on a Sunday morning. These things can stir a longing so deep it feels like the love we had has returned in full force. But that's because it never left. That's what love does. It finds its way back to us. It bends across time. It breaks through the barriers of space and death. It shows up in a dream, in a child's laughter, in the comfort of quiet prayer. And we are reminded once again that love does not end. It transforms. In this life, we are taught to measure things, years, achievements, possessions. But love cannot be measured by earthly standards. It isn't diminished by time or absence. Some of the most powerful love stories are those that continue after loss, where the presence of the departed becomes a guiding force, an invisible hand over every decision, every moment of courage, every act of kindness. We live differently because they loved us. We love differently because we loved them. People say time heals all wounds, but that's not quite true. Time does not heal, love does. Time simply gives love the space to do its work. And love, when it is real, reshapes our pain into purpose, our sorrow into strength. It takes what was once unbearable and makes it a source of deeper compassion, greater patience, and unshakable hope. Because when we carry someone in love, we do not just carry their memory, we carry their light. The reason we grieve so deeply is because we loved so deeply. Grief in many ways is the echo of love, and the stronger the love, the louder the echo. But echoes don't fade into nothingness, they keep circling back, and sometimes that echo becomes a song in the night, a whisper in our dreams, a nudge in our spirit that says, "Keep going, I'm still with you." That's what love does. It refuses to let death be the final word. There are moments when our spirit aches for those who are gone, and in those moments we find ourselves praying, hoping, even believing that somehow they can hear us, that somehow they know. And friend, let me tell you something. You're not crazy. That ache in your soul is not a weakness. It's a testimony. It's proof that what you shared was more than physical. It was spiritual, and the spiritual cannot be touched by death. Love endures because God, who is love, endures. Every act of love is a seed planted in eternity. The love you gave, the love you received, does not vanish. It becomes part of something far greater than this world can comprehend. And when we leave this world ourselves, I believe with all my heart that love will be the bridge that carries us home, not a memory, not a story, but real, living, breathing love, the kind that reunites us, restores us, and reminds us that the truest things in life never die. In those moments of quiet reflection, when you feel them beside you, that's love. When tears fall from your eyes without warning, when your heart aches out of nowhere, when you laugh at a memory so vivid it feels like yesterday. That's love, and it's still alive. That's the miracle of it. It's the mercy in the mystery. Even when the world says it's over, love keeps speaking. It reminds us, comforts us, heals us. You may feel broken, but you are not alone. The love that once walked beside you still walks within you, and every step you take forward is a testimony that love outlives death. That's why love is the most powerful force in the universe, because it came from the one who is eternal. Because it carries the breath of heaven, because it cannot die, love never dies. The veil between life and eternity is thin. There are moments in life when we feel something we cannot explain, an unseen presence, a sudden warmth, a whisper in our spirit that cannot be dismissed. We live in a world wrapped in the tangible, where we trust what we can touch and see. Yet, deep within, we know there's more than what the eye can behold, more than what this earth can offer. And sometimes, just sometimes, we are reminded that the veil separating this life from the next is not a wall, not a chasm, not an unbreakable barrier. It is a veil, and that veil is thin. It doesn't take much to feel it. A soft breeze in an empty room, the scent of someone who is no longer here. A dream so vivid it leaves you breathless. These are not coincidences. They are moments when heaven brushes earth, when eternity leans close. When God, in His mercy, allows us to feel what is usually hidden. For a brief second, the curtain parts and we are touched by something sacred, something that reminds us we were made for more. When we lose someone we love, our hearts cry out not just for their presence, but for understanding. Where did they go? Can they see me? Are they still with me? The questions echo in the silence, and though we may not have all the answers, there is a deep knowing that tells us they are not far. We may not see them with our eyes, but we sense them in our soul. That's because the distance between here and there is not measured in miles or years. It's measured in moments, in breaths, in the space between heartbeat and stillness. The veil between life and eternity is thin, because eternity is not a faraway place. It is near. It is here. It surrounds us closer than the air in our lungs. The souls of those who have gone before us are not lost in some distant galaxy. They are home. They are where we are heading. And every now and then, God allows us a glimpse. A touch, a reminder, not to frighten us, but to comfort us, to show us that death is not the end, that what we love is not gone. It has only changed its form. We live in a broken world where pain and loss often blind us to the beauty of what lies beyond. But the truth is, there is more beyond this life than our hearts can imagine. And when that veil lifts, even for a moment, we feel it. We feel the presence of those we miss. We feel the pull of heaven. We feel the love that does not fade. It's not imagination. It's not wishful thinking. It's truth. A holy, gentle truth that God allows to stir our hearts and remind us that we are never truly alone. Some people feel their loved one in a dream. Others hear their voice in their heart at just the right time. Still others speak of signs, a bird that lands beside them, a song on the radio, a flickering light, things that might seem small to others but speak volumes to the one who's grieving. These are not to be dismissed. These are the whispers of eternity, the gentle fingerprints of God on the fragile glass between this world and the next. There is no need to fear these moments. They are gifts. They are glimpses into a reality more real than this one. We often think of heaven as far away, but heaven is all around us. Eternity is not a destination for someday. It is the very home of our souls. We are eternal beings living in a temporary world, and those we have loved and lost, they have simply stepped behind the veil, but oh, how close that veil can be. There is great comfort in knowing that the veil is thin, because it means we are not left behind, we are not cut off. The love we shared, the bond we built, the prayers we prayed, these things reach beyond the grave. And when your heart stirs without reason, when you feel the warmth of memory or the ache of presence, you are closer to heaven than you know. The veil has brushed you, even in the quiet of the night, when grief presses down and the world feels dark, that veil glows. Because beyond it there is light, there is peace. There is a love so strong it reaches through time and space just to hold you, and even when you cannot see it, it is there, it is holding you now. There are stories of people who, in their final hours, see loved ones waiting for them. Eyes wide with wonder, smiles breaking through pain. They describe faces from long ago, voices calling their name. This is not confusion. This is revelation. It is the veil pulling back. It is God saying, "You are not alone. I am with you," and so are they. The veil between life and eternity is thin, and that is no accident. It's God's design. It's His mercy. It's His promise that we are never separated from love, that even death cannot sever what is rooted in Him. And when we realize how close eternity really is, we begin to live differently. We speak with more kindness. We forgive more freely. We hold our loved ones a little longer because we understand this life is not forever, but the next one is. So we keep our hearts open. We pay attention to the stillness. We listen to the whispers. And when that gentle brush of eternity comes near, we receive it with reverence. We do not fear it. We do not deny it. We embrace it because it means that love is still alive, that our souls are still connected, and that God is nearer than we ever imagined. The veil is thin, my friend, and that is a blessing. It means the people we miss are not gone. It means heaven is closer than our sorrow. It means hope is not just for tomorrow. It is for today. And it means that one day, when our time comes, we will step through that veil, and love will greet us on the other side. Dreams can be divine encounters. There are moments when our eyes close in sleep, and something sacred begins to stir. In the stillness of the night, when the noise of the world fades away and the soul is quiet, God often speaks, not with thunder or spectacle, but with the gentle language of dreams. And sometimes what we experience in those dreams is not just memory, not just emotion, but something far greater, something holy, because dreams at times can be divine encounters. We often think of dreams as nothing more than the mind's way of processing the day, but there are some dreams, deep, vivid, sacred, that leave a mark on the soul. You wake up from them changed. You remember every word, every face, every moment. These are not ordinary dreams. These are moments when heaven breaks through, when the boundary between the spiritual and the natural becomes transparent, and we are given a glimpse into something eternal. When you dream of someone you have lost, and it feels more real than anything else, that may be a divine encounter. That may be God allowing their presence to comfort you. That may be the Holy Spirit ministering to your heart in ways words cannot reach. In that space between sleeping and waking, God often chooses to move, because He knows that when our minds are still, our hearts are more open. He knows how to reach us in ways we cannot understand, but we can feel. And those feelings are sacred. There are stories upon stories of people who have been visited in their dreams by loved ones who have passed. These dreams are not filled with fear or confusion, but with peace, with clarity, with love. People say, "They looked so well. They were smiling. They told me they loved me. They told me not to worry." These are not fragments of imagination. These are moments of divine kindness. God, in His mercy, allows the veil to part, just for a moment, to give us comfort, to reassure us, to remind us that death is not the end, that love continues, that His presence is always near. Sometimes in dreams, we see what we cannot see in the waking world. We are given direction, we are given healing, we are given closure. How many have gone to bed with a broken heart and woken up with peace they can't explain? How many have carried guilt, regret, or sorrow, only to be visited by grace in the quiet of a dream? That is not coincidence. That is not simply the mind working through pain. That is the hand of God reaching into our deepest places and saying, "You are not alone. I am with you, and I know what your heart needs." There are biblical stories that speak of dreams carrying divine messages. Joseph saw his future in dreams. Jacob saw heaven open in a dream. The wise men were warned in a dream. Joseph, the earthly father of Jesus, was led by dreams to protect his family. All throughout Scripture, dreams have been vessels for the sacred. Why would it be any different today? The God who spoke in dreams then still speaks in dreams now. The Spirit who revealed things then still reveals things now, because God is unchanging, and His desire to reach His children remains constant. When you have a dream that stirs your spirit, do not be so quick to dismiss it. Pay attention, pray over it, ask God what it means, because He may be showing you something beyond this world. He may be healing wounds you didn't even know were still open. He may be letting a loved one reach across the veil to remind you that they are okay, that you will be okay, that life does not end with death, and that love never leaves us. Sometimes a divine encounter in a dream isn't about someone who's passed, it's about something you need. It's an answer to a question you haven't asked out loud. It's a reassurance when your faith is faltering. It's the arms of heaven wrapping around your weary heart and saying, "Rest in me." And when you wake up from those dreams, you feel it in your bones. You feel lighter, clearer, whole, because God doesn't just speak to the mind, He speaks to the soul. We live in a world that teaches us to be skeptical of what we cannot measure, but faith was never about measurement. Faith is about trust. And when your heart feels the presence of God in a dream, when it feels the touch of someone you miss, the words you needed to hear, the peace that passes all understanding, you are being invited into something holy. You are being reminded that the spiritual is just as real, if not more real, than the physical. Divine dreams do not always come often, but when they do, they stay with you, they mark you, they become a light you carry on dark days. They become a sacred part of your story, and you find yourself going back to them, drawing strength from them, remembering the clarity, the warmth, the love That is the fruit of divine encounters. They bear peace, not fear. They bring healing, not confusion. They are a gift straight from the heart of God. So if you've had a dream like that, a dream that made you weep or lifted your spirit, a dream that brought back someone you love, a dream that filled you with hope, know that it mattered. It wasn't random. It wasn't meaningless. It was a touch from the eternal, a whisper from heaven, a kiss from the other side of the veil. And if you haven't yet, but your heart aches to experience something like that, ask. God hears the silent cries of the soul. He knows how to meet you where you are, and He knows when your heart is ready. Keep your heart open. Keep your faith steady, because the same God who gave dreams to shepherds and kings still gives them to ordinary people like you and me. Dreams can be divine encounters, and in those encounters, heaven speaks, love visits, and the eternal draws near. Heaven is real, and near there is a longing that lives deep in every human soul. A quiet ache, a whisper in the heart that says, there must be more. Even in our happiest moments, there's a sense that this world is not all there is, and in our hardest moments, that longing becomes a cry. We want to know that beyond the pain, beyond the loss, beyond the grave, something waits for us, something beautiful, something eternal, and the truth, the deep, unwavering soul, soothing truth is that heaven is real, and more than that, heaven is near. We often speak of heaven as if it's a place far away up in the sky, beyond the stars, unreachable until the final breath. But heaven isn't some distant galaxy or abstract dream. Heaven is closer than we know. It surrounds us, as real and present as the air we breathe. It is not bound by time or space, and it is not far from the brokenhearted. Heaven is not just the place we go when life ends. It's the home our spirit remembers even while we live. There are moments when this truth becomes undeniable, when you're standing at the edge of the ocean, watching the waves crash in perfect rhythm, and you feel peace that words cannot explain, when you hold a newborn baby and see eternity reflected in their eyes. When you're standing at a graveside, heart shattered, but suddenly sense something holy hovering close. These are not illusions. They are glimpses, glimpses of heaven, reminders that it is not a myth, not a fantasy, but a promise. When you've lost someone you love, heaven becomes more than just a hope. It becomes your heart's anchor. You begin to realize that the separation we feel is only temporary, that they are not lost, they are not gone. They are just home. They are just on the other side of a veil so thin. Sometimes it flutters in your dreams, in your memories, in those moments of stillness where their presence feels undeniable. That's heaven drawing close. That's the nearness of the eternal. There is comfort in knowing that the place where our loved ones dwell is not far, that they are not trapped in the past or frozen in time. They are alive in joy, in light, in love that is deeper than anything we've known here. And that place, that presence, is not waiting only for the day we die. It is around us now. Every act of kindness, every moment of grace, every time we choose to love rather than hate, we are brushing against heaven. Every prayer, every tear, every whisper of faith, heaven hears it all. Heaven is not just the reward at the end of the road. It's the reality that gives meaning to every step along the way. It's why we keep going. It's why we forgive. It's why we love even when it hurts. Because we know this life is not the end. We know that everything good and holy and beautiful we experience here is only a taste of what's to come. The light we see now is only a reflection of a greater glory that waits just beyond the edge of this world. When you kneel in prayer and feel that stillness settle over your soul, when you speak to someone you've lost and feel that sacred warmth wrap around your heart, when you look up at the night sky and sense the presence of something far greater than yourself, these are moments when heaven is leaning in, when eternity is closer than your own breath, when God is whispering, I am near, I have not left you, and neither have they. People sometimes ask, where is heaven? The truth is, it is not bound by geography. It is not up or down. It is not a number on a map. Heaven is where God dwells in fullness, and God, in his infinite mercy and love, draws near to us in every moment of need. That means heaven is near, too. It means that even now we are not alone. Even now we are surrounded by a cloud of witnesses. Even now, the love that we think we've lost is still with us, unseen but not unfelt. Every story of healing, every testimony of peace beyond understanding, every dream that brings comfort from the other side, all of these are whispers from heaven. They are not fantasy. They are reality breaking through. They are heaven's hand reaching into your sorrow, your questions, your doubt, and offering a love that does not end. Heaven is not far away. It is just beyond the veil, and that veil is thin. It means your tears are seen there. Your prayers are heard there, your name is known there, and one day, when your time here is done, it will not be a strange place you enter. It will be home, the place your heart was always reaching for. The joy you couldn't quite describe, the peace you always hoped was real. Heaven is all of that and more, so when your heart aches with loss, when the world feels heavy and cold, remember, this is not the end of the story. This life is only the first page, and heaven is the rest. It is the fulfillment of every promise, the restoration of every broken thing, the reunion of every heart that ever loved and lost and dared to believe that love could last forever. Because it does, because heaven is real and it is near. God uses memory to heal the heart. There are times when grief feels like a wave crashing over the soul, leaving us breathless and broken. Moments when the absence of someone we loved feels louder than anything else in our world. In those moments, we often reach for memories, not just to remember, but to feel close again. We revisit a laugh, a scent, a moment frozen in time, and while it may bring tears, there's something sacred in it too. Because memory is not just something we carry, it is something God uses. He doesn't let our memories haunt us. He redeems them. He heals with them. He comforts us through them, because God uses memory to heal the heart. When we lose someone, we fear we'll forget. We hold tightly to photos, messages, and keepsakes, desperate to preserve the echo of who they were. But what we often don't realize is that God placed those memories in us not to torment us with what's gone, but to remind us of what was real, what is still real. Every memory is a thread connecting us to a love that has not died. And in those quiet moments when a memory surfaces out of nowhere, it's often more than coincidence. It's grace. It's God saying, I see your heart. Let me comfort you. There's a tenderness in how the Lord uses memory. He knows which ones to bring back and when. A song that plays on a day when your spirit is heavy. A scent that comes from nowhere but instantly brings a sense of presence. A mental picture of a smile that comes just as the tears begin to fall. That's not just nostalgia. That's not just the brain recalling facts. That's the Father reaching into your ache and touching it with His love. He brings back moments of laughter, of peace, of connection, because those are reminders that love endures and that you were blessed to experience it at all. The world often tells us to move on, to be strong, to forget in order to heal, but God never asks us to forget. He invites us to remember in the safety of His presence. He says, bring those memories to me, let me sit with you in them, let me use them to show you how deeply you were loved, how much you gave, and how nothing is wasted, not even sorrow. In God's hands, memory becomes medicine, the kind that doesn't just numb pain but transforms it, the kind that turns mourning into gratitude, the kind that allows us to look back without breaking. Sometimes we remember things we wish we could forget, words left unsaid, regrets, or mistakes. And even there, God works. He doesn't let those memories linger to punish us. He brings them to the surface so He can heal what's underneath. He speaks into our shame and says, "You are forgiven." He speaks into our regret and says, "I was there, and I still am." And little by little, he replaces the sting with peace, with understanding, with grace, because even our most painful memories can be redeemed by his love. God also uses memory to teach us, to shape who we are becoming, to remind us of where we've been and how far we've come. He brings back moments where we were carried, where prayers were answered, where love overcame. These are not just chapters in the past, they are testimonies. Proof that he was faithful then, and he will be faithful now. And when we remember those holy moments, it strengthens us for the road ahead. It gives us courage to hope again. There's a reason we often feel closer to God when we reflect. Memory is one of his gentlest tools. Through it, he reaches the depths of our soul. He doesn't just speak to the present version of us. He ministers to the child, the broken heart, the weary soul that still lives inside. And he does it without judgment, without rushing, with perfect love. He walks with us through our memories like a father showing a child old photographs, pointing out the beauty, the lessons, the victories hidden in the pain. Some of the most healing moments come when we stop trying to push memories away and start inviting God into them. When we say, "Lord, help me see this the way you see it." When we allow him to reframe the story, not by changing the facts, but by revealing the deeper truth beneath them. That we were never alone, that our pain was seen, that our love was real, that our story matters. And sometimes the healing comes simply from the comfort of remembering the people we love, the way they spoke, the way they made us feel, the way they loved us so completely that even now, years later, their memory can bring tears to our eyes. That is not weakness. That is not a wound refusing to close. That is sacred. That is God allowing their love to live on through us. And as long as we remember them, their light hasn't gone out. It shines through us, through our stories, through the way we love others in their honor. There is no timeline for healing, no expiration date on grief. But in every step, God walks with us. He knows what we need before we do. And often, what we need is simply to remember, to sit with a memory long enough to see that it still has something to give. A lesson, a smile, a sign that what we had was precious, and God does not waste the precious. So let the memories come. Let them wash over you like waves of grace. Let them bring laughter and tears. Let them connect you to what was and remind you of what still is. Because your heart is not healing alone. God is holding every piece, mending it gently, using every memory as a thread in his masterpiece of restoration. You are not alone, and you never were. God uses memory to heal the heart. It is one of his quietest miracles, one that happens in bedrooms at midnight, in car rides when a song plays, in kitchens where familiar smells stir the soul. He meets us there, again and again, because even when we think we're just remembering, heaven is reaching down saying, "Yes, my child, feel it, let it flow, I am healing you." So if today your heart feels heavy, if a memory suddenly stirs the ache you thought had settled, don't turn away, sit with it, let it speak, and invite God into that sacred space, because he is not afraid of your sorrow. He is not distant from your longing. He is right there, in the echo of a laugh, in the warmth of a remembered hug, in the tears that fall when you miss them most. Let your memories be holy ground. Let them remind you of how deeply you loved, and how deeply you were loved. And know this, what God brings to your mind, he brings for a reason, not to reopen wounds, but to heal them. Not to leave you in the past, but to carry the love from the past into today, into forever, because the God who gave you those memories is still writing your story, and every time you remember, you are touching eternity. And he is healing you, one sacred memory at a time. Amen.